ATO debt. It's a real problem for many business owners. So what do we do about it? Well, we don't stick our head in the sand and, hope that it goes away. We need to action it. So the ATO, whilst they are becoming more and more aggressive about chasing debt, and their tough stance on collecting that debt is really heightened, particularly over the last 12 months, they are still open to negotiating payment arrangements. So not all is lost just because you've built up an ATO debt for whatever reason. But there's certain criteria that you need to meet in order to be able to successfully negotiate a payment arrangement that works in your favour as much as possible. So whether it's a smallish debt that you can pay over a few months, or whether it's quite a large debt that you need an extended period of time. Now, 12 to 24 months is generally acceptable depending on your particular situation, your history, your debt, etc. Sometimes we've been successful to get payment arrangements for 3, 4, and even the odd few at 5 years. But having said that, the ATO are less and less likely to be able to do that because they do not consider themselves a bank. So here's what you've got to do to make sure that you're as successful as possible to successfully negotiate a ATO payment arrangement that suits your needs. Number one, you've got to ensure that all your lodgements are up to date. And this is one of the biggest problems because as a business owner, if you've got ATO debt, you're thinking, I don't want to lodge another BAS because that's only going to increase my debt. Well, yes, it is, but we need to make sure that all your lodgements are up to date so we actually know what your current liability is, what your current debt position is with the ATO. So they won't even discuss a payment plan unless you've got all your lodgements up to date. Activity statements, tax returns, etc. Now, you need to be prepared for a shorter payment term because you may want 12, 24, 36 months, but reality is the ATO want to pay it as quickly as possible, 12 months or less. So you need to be mindful of what that's going to mean in terms of a repayment. Expect an upfront payment. So, whilst you still might want it out over 12 or further in terms of months, the ATO would like a sort of larger upfront payment to, again, show your commitment to be able to successfully meet your requirements. Having said that, we have been able to successfully get payment arrangements just spread equally over the period. Understand that your principal tax debt is not going to be waived. We may be able to waive interest and penalties, depending again on your circumstances and your history, etc. But the ATO ain't going to waive your principal tax debt, your obligation, despite what you might hear out there in the grapevine. The other thing is to act early. The earlier you action your ATO debt, the more likely the ATO are going to be able to negotiate to something that suits your requirements. Again, sticking your head in the sand is not going to work, hoping that this thing goes away or that they don't contact you for months or years. That's not going to happen, okay? You need to be on the front foot. You need to have your lodgements up to date. You need to get to the ATO as quickly as possible to organise payment arrangements. The ATO debt, as I've said on many occasions before, is just like another business cost. I know you don't see it that way because you just see that they're taking a percentage of your profits. I understand that. But the reality is it's just another cost of doing business. You need to manage that cost like any other cost. And you need to make sure that your cash flow can meet all of those requirements. Yes, you're in business to make money and not give it away, and that's what we help you do in terms of making sure that you pay the least amount of tax possible. But if you get into a situation where you've accumulated some debt, take action. Make sure you're on top of your lodgements. Make sure you can meet your future requirements, because once you get on a payment plan, that doesn't mean that all future obligations can just get added to another payment plan. That doesn't work that way. The payment plan is for the old debt. All your future obligations then need to be lodged on time and paid in full. That's the way the system works. So if cash flow is an issue, if your debt levels are an issue, then please give us a call. We're happy to help. Happy to help you manage your business, manage your cash flow, and get you back on track. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for listening. Look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye for now.